So yeah, I'm Tom from RamJam. This is Toby from RamJam and Phil as well. So yeah, we're a Brighton-based creative digital studio doing games, animation, characters. Been running since 2010. It's a small core team of 4 of us. And we've been excited by basically creating things that are fun, and XR and AR and VR has been one of the technical things we've sort of embraced and had fun with. We basically got loads of different types of clients we've worked with over the years. So for this talk, I'll show you little videos of some of the work we've done, a little explanation of why we did it to start with, what we've learned from it, and at the end, basically, there's some stuff to experiment with, so to go through, and Toby can run through the Library of Possibilities and Wonders, which is a project we've done recently we're really proud of. So I will play, hopefully. So yeah, that actually runs through sort of work we do. So yeah, basically we're going to talk about AR and VR. Obviously, that's the meetup we were here for. And yeah, basically we always experimenting. And many years ago, Toby went to a Unity meetup and found out that we could potentially do AR. We'd won the job for Brighton Fringe to do the cover for it, and we saw it as a great opportunity just to have a go. So we were learning on this project to make this app. But it was a great time to just to work out how to do AR. So this is our first actual project sort of going live. So we tried to do everything we sort of could in there, have lots of fun, animation, many water effects, and all different types of things in there. And we tried to gamify the Brighton Fringe as well. So basically, different pages, different sort of games. How does it work? What's the best way to go through things? By the way, if you've got any questions, want to interrupt me, just jump in. I'll just carry on going through these. So if you see something you want to ask, do pipe up. So, well, I'm running through. Here we go. There we go. So yeah, basically some of the things we found out making this project. It's lots of fun to create it because we got to just try everything out. But there's a few things that we didn't realise when we were doing it. Trying to explain on the cover of the Fringe magazine, Pokemon Go hadn't come out. So AR we knew what AR was, but it actually at the time we thought if we say what AR is on a cover, people won't know what it is. So instead we put a picture of get this 3D app with 3D glasses, but that confused things even more. So people didn't realise it was AR. They didn't know where the glasses were. So it's like a bit of a mistake there going through that. With the Rube Goldberg machine, we tried to get all these balls sort of falling down. So we made this amazing animation, put it into scale, and all of a sudden it just didn't work. And that's to do with the actual scale of Unity with physics. because if it's made at 1:1, you scale it down, the physics don't scale down. So that was something we learned from this. And again, we tried to do like a Jenga puzzle, and it didn't work. But when we did touch it and exploded out, we thought it looked quite cool. So at that point, it's like, well, that's it. No one knows what we're trying to do, so we just went with it. So after that project, we got to do the gamified placemat for fruit shoots. So this goes into all the restaurants. We showed the Brighton Fringe, what we could sort of do there, and had to make some basically puzzle games, sports games, colouring in music, and I'll show you that hopefully. Close up, yeah. So with this project, there's a few things. We were working with an agency that had got this job to do, and they had some certain theories about what we were going to do with playing the games. And one of them was to tilt the device. So they're basically trying to get a ball around a maze, but in AR, if you're trying to look at a picture and you're tilting it, you're starting to lose the marker. So quite early on, we said, look, it's not going to work. Had to change it to buttons, so you can still look at it, still press buttons to actually tilt the actual device in there. Also catering for multiple people, using the placemat, because different people, if a few kids have got their own devices, some of them might be upside down. So it's making sure that a game could be played, very simple interactions, and this is carried through pretty much to anything with AR. You can't, the controls have to be as simple as possible. And again, we actually managed to get this released in app stores within 6 weeks from go to in the app stores, which now we would think is insane. There's no chance, oh yeah, it'll be fine. Luckily it was. But we had Britvic that she gave us the account, keys to their account for the app stores. So we did get it into the app stores, but it was, now I think we no way promised that. But yeah, we were lucky to get through that. Off the back of that as well, we got another job. Basically, this is in the FMCG market. So this is for a luxury whiskey brand. And this was the first foray into using a product as the marker. So I will show you that.
Ah, hello there. I'm the Whiskey Baron. It's a pleasure to meet you. Over here we have the Spirit Still. Each distillery has a unique history that affects them. This is my tasting board. Whiskies have many different, bold and unique flavors that contribute to a vibrant tasting experience. I hope my small introduction has inspired you to dive further into the world of fine whiskey. And remember, I'm always here to lend a helping hand.
So interestingly, we knew the labels wouldn't be that good as a marker, but I think we were using a marker. It needs lots of touch points that's standing out to make it strong and to basically track using a device. With this, we knew the labels were going to be almost the same apart from some really small text, so we couldn't use that text to differentiate it because the camera would never understand it. So we had to have a menu inside the app to be able to choose which whiskey you're going to view. But even then, the actual label is still so simple. It's a bit hit and miss. So we hate seeing things on good quality. So it's a little bit sort of jumpy sometimes. So that was an issue with it. And again, with the transition from 2D to 3D, the illustration, looking at it on the bottle, we're like, great, that's human, that's fine, tick. But then when Phil came to actually sort of generate it, making it into 3D was actually quite a lot harder to do, to actually make it look like the illustration as well. So it was an interesting thing that cropped up we didn't anticipate coming in. Also did this. So this was an interactive storybook game for a charcuterie brand called Rutland Charcuterie. They're a luxury brand going into lots of different stores, and they want to do something to make their brand stand out. So we created this this app. So on this project, we'd come up with a story. We chatted to the owner of the brand, who basically told us his life story about how he learnt to create charcuterie, how he moved to France with his family, and we made a whole story, lots of different scenes, everything that happened. Started creating it, and then the owner said it wasn't really hitting, wasn't landing with them. So we completely turned it on its head and made a stupid made-up fantasy story based off him being bitten on the finger by a squirrel when he was in France. And he was on a Zoom call, and I think his brother-in-law had noticed that he had this rash coming up, and basically he had blood poisoning, was going to die. So we turned the entire thing into this squirrel that he needs to go and attack. And the whole fantasy story ended up being far more fun than the original story. So I think it's just being ready to adapt something if it crops up. Flexible packaging, again, it's the mark. If you're looking for a marker that's going to be sort of attached to, this is going to be warping around. It's not very good for it. And again, and it's shiny as well. And when we were testing near the end of the project, sometimes the scene was moving around a bit, and it was all down to the logo. Very slightly, they just adapted it slightly on certain packaging, not told us. So you have to look for the small details, like where things can go wrong. So we made a full augmented reality training app for nationwide staff. So they wanted to keep all the branches open. They wanted all the staff not to potentially lose their jobs with the closure of branches, but they wanted them to understand what's going on with different customers' needs. So there's different personas, had this e-learning platform they wanted to roll out, and they wanted to make it, rather than just everyone sit in a boardroom and look at slides like we are now, they wanted to turn it into some augmented reality fun experience. So right to start with, you'd scan the slide, it comes into 3D and AR, you take a box off the screen, you place a character down, so it's a full journey. So we created this experience. So creating this app, there's a few things. We'd already made an app for another bank, and there's big issues with getting the app into the app stores. So we tried to flag this with Nationwide. The thing still came to be. So it's trying to say, you need to get these things sorted with your team so we can actually continue to make this. Some things like when these characters came up in the cards, they did this animation where they sort of stand up. That was a complete accident. I thought Toby done on purpose. And it would look really cool. I'm like, that's good. So it's just seeing some nice things going to keep it. And also, right at the very end of the project, it wasn't going to launch, but we really quickly made a portal to be able to get the app so people could download it. I'll jump straight into this one. So we made an app for a makeup brand, but this is highly realistic 3D animals. Getting this into the app stores was tricky. We tried to get it into the app stores. They said, no, you're advertising. There's makeup in it. You're advertising. So we took that out, resubmitted it. They were like, okay, it can stay. And then we put makeup back in and it stayed. So it's just someone's there sticking some boxes. Sometimes you can get away with it, but like someone actually is there. With 3D models, Phil normally does all 3D modeling. We bought some models in and we're like, we're saving time, this is great. And then the amount of time reworking those models ended up almost getting to the same amount of time as if building it from scratch anyway. So yeah, fundamentally that's that. Is it the promoter stuff? Do you want me to, how far do you want me to get to the bit with? I'll carry on. I'll skip. I'll talk quicker. We did this to save the children. We'll jump straight in this one as well.
Yeah.
That's it. So the promoter stuff the second part, but yeah. So basically, yeah, there was obviously no point in us doing that, but it was really good fun. So yeah, that's roughly what we've done in the last sort of 10 years, the different sort of projects, and hopefully some insight into bits that we sort of learned from it. Yeah. So yeah, anyway, so back to where we sort of getting to. So that's the projects. We've created lots of things for people that have asked us to make them, and some silly stuff we wanted to make ourselves. As part of creating all these different projects and releasing apps, often we've been asked, could you make a, does this have to be an app? Most of the time, lots of brands are like, oh, we don't have an app, we don't have to release it, etc. All the hassles with that. So we were thinking, what could you do with web AR? And as part of that, we basically made a platform, digital platform for collectibles, touching a little bit with NFTs, but not actually the mystic part of NFTs and the cost, more about actually collecting, collecting digital characters, and yeah, web AR to sort of make things people can actually tangibly sort of see. So creating exciting modern proof experience, digital avatars and souvenirs that could go with anything. So it could be, you've got an event going on, you've got collectibles, you've got packaging, you've got collectibles. Things that could be unique rather than everyone getting exactly the same AR experience every time.
Bring the fun to consumers while driving customer engagement and brand awareness. Launch an augmented reality experience easily from a simple QR code. No need to download an app. Follow a fully realised character on a tour or create a Pokemon Go style treasure hunt. You decide the rewards. Perfect for brand promotions and competitions with built-in gamification readily available. Transform your packaging with pop-up animation.
That's so cool. That's great. Look at this guy.
With over 20 years in delivering games and cutting-edge augmented reality for brands, you want to speak to a team who can create experiences that delight and astonish consumers. Promote AR. Imagination is just the beginning.
So yeah, in a nutshell, we wanted to try and create something that we could reuse, use something that would be easy to deploy, and something where you could have gamification, education, and be rewarded. So going through, collecting, finding, scanning, and a reason to go back to places and maybe find the last thing. So we created that, and we've managed to get this into a few examples. So as you saw, basically you can collect, there's collections to go through. We did this as a little test example, so you can go around Brighton, get to certain locations and find the zombie bunnies. So we can do location based, so basically Pokemon Go, but all through web. So different collectibles, branded photos to share on social media as well. So if there's a marketing campaign that could be put together, we've created something that could be used for that. So we've got some examples here as well you can check out later on. But basically we've got creature coder, so this is a can, so you can collect different creatures inside the cans. Once you've collected it, you can do it in AR, take some photos. But that basically led on to, so we created this for Money 2020. So Money 2020 is a big fintech conference across the globe, and they wanted something to give to every single one of their speakers. So normally they need something to give to their speakers as something to make them feel special. So we created 1,000 unique digital collectibles for all of their speakers, and we also made 3D printed them as well. So they went to the show, they had their own 3D digital collectible with their name, job title. So very bespoke, but using the platform very easy for us to actually get out there. So as a result of this platform we've made, we chatted to West Sussex Libraries middle of last year. They had their centenary coming up for the centenary. They had their centenary coming up, and they wanted some way to get people into the library who wouldn't normally come in. They wanted a way to have people in the library embrace technology and understand that. And they came to us just to understand what VR and AR can do. We showed them everything that we can do, and they wanted us to put a package together. So that's what we created. And I'll pass you over to Toby, who can talk you through how we created it and what sort of happened.
Yeah.
So do you want to swap seats?
Yeah, that sounds might be easier. Yeah, so I'm Toby, I'm one of the developers at RamJam. I kind of worked on the VR side of the Library of Possibilities and Wonder, which is still a mouthful after all this time. So Tom's already said that. But we were given loads of requirements when we started this job. It needed to feature West Sussex, it needed to be usable for any length of time between 5 minutes and 30 minutes, depending on the session they're running. It had to tour 36 libraries. It needs to be approachable for any user of any age, technical level, and also include people with special educational needs. It needs to be used in any environments, libraries, schools, even hospice and prisons. So our target audience was everyone, which is an easy one to aim for.
Very ambitious.
Yeah. I won't spoil too much, but because there's demos here, but this is some of the scenes that we did. We have baking. Not the British Bake Off.
You've done it!
The finishing touch.
Well, flat by feathers. That's the best cake I've ever seen. We have our own beer.
Then farming.
Here in West Sussex. I love being at a farm. I love honey and fresh warm bread. It is great to get outdoors in the countryside. Pop the bubble to pump water into the trough next to you. It's so much quieter back in the olden days, isn't it? Looks like they had cars even back in the past. I think they want us to join them. They had some cars, and some people even travelled around on horseback. I love apples, but I don't have shillings. A smuggler is leaving.
Then smugglers and pirates.
Sneak on board and see what treasure we can find. Learning how to sneak in unnoticed was all part of the excitement for smuggling folk. Pop the last one.
Yippee! We found some treasure!
Oh my, That's the actual International Space Station.
Well done, team. Check out the Earth through the window. She's a beautiful view from up here.
Wow, isn't it amazing?
So these are the experiences that we built. There's 5 of them. We've got some headsets here so you can try them out after this talk. But I'm going to talk through all the pain that we went through in developing this now. It took a lot of thought. Our first requirement was to ensure that the experience was available to all, and that includes when you give a VR headset, you never know what they're going to do. Are they going to go crazy? Are they going to be terrified? We've had people in our office who have put the headset on and then jumped headfirst into a wall because they thought it was real, even though it wasn't. So we've had to develop lots of safety features so that if they step out of their zone, the game cuts off and they won't injure themselves. It's really important because we don't want to get sued. But on the opposite side of that, we've got people who are absolutely terrified of VR, so they put on the headset and they just stay frozen. And so there's lots of reasons why they might not be comfortable with that. They don't know how they're going to react. They might get motion sickness, or they're worried they make a fool of themselves. That seems to be the number one issue. So we kind of use a few different techniques to make them at ease. The main one being introducing mixed reality. So at the start of the experience, you put the headset on and you just see your real world, so they're not afraid, and we slowly introduce virtual elements as we kind of go through. And of course, Marty the Martlet also helped put people at ease as well. And there was no logic to this divide. We had 90-year-olds jumping off cliffs, and we had 8-year-olds sat there completely frozen. So you couldn't predict who would respond. The next barrier to entry was interactions, because these people, as you found out, they get like 5 minutes with this headset. They have no time for any tutorials. It needs to be intuitive and available for beginners who have never done VR before. We did have to use controllers. The controllers are quite complicated and no one knows what they are when they first get them, but we use them very sparingly for the demonstrators to be able to turn on subtitles or reset the experience. But for the actual user themselves, we went with hand tracking, because everyone knows how to use their hands, you hope. But it turned out that wasn't as intuitive as we thought. During the development phase, we kind of did a few workshops to kind of demonstrate to librarians and users how they might use it. So our first demo was a complete disaster. And so we thought things like pinch to interact would be really straightforward, because I do it all the time in VR, and they weren't. And we're there saying to librarians, like a bird, pretend you're a bird, a baby bird picking something up, and no one ever got it. It was a disaster. And then when we said, oh, you can use the force to grab things from far away, that also didn't work at all. No one understood it. It just made it worse. So it turns out what feels natural to us as developers and VR users is not natural at all to someone new to virtual reality. So we went soul searching, trying to come up with some potential solutions, and the solution that we came up with was bubbles. We just designed everything around a universal bubble system. So you don't need to press any buttons, you don't need to make any precise gestures, it's just point and it pops and something happens. And people got that immediately. And it worked really well. It meant that every action could be triggered in a way that was accessible for all ages, and we're even able to look at the user's height and say, right, these people are shorter, so bring the bubbles in closer, and if they're taller, they can be further away, they've got longer arm distance. And for those with accessibility issues, we were also able to auto-pop these bubbles so that they could trigger automatically, so you could sit there passively and still enjoy the whole experience. Then we moved on to motion. The answer to that is don't do motion. Some people like myself got solid VR legs. Some people struggle with motion and they just want to throw up as soon as there's any movement whatsoever. And this is something the libraries were quite concerned about. They didn't want to push anyone off cliffs, they didn't want to make them ill. We found that movement with any acceleration was a bad idea, but we found that linear motion, so you join a vehicle that's already in motion and it's traveling at a constant speed, was a lot easier for people. So there was no acceleration, no deceleration, and as of now, no reports of anyone being sick at the library. So that's hopefully that's good. For accessibility, we also enabled subtitles. This was a real challenge in terms of finding the right focus distance. If it was too close, it gave you a headache. If it was too far away, they're too hard to read. If they were we had to develop like different rendering techniques so that the subtitles wouldn't intersect with the geometry, because otherwise they'd just disappear halfway through. We also had to make sure the experience was useful for people with special educational needs. The library offered many sessions for this. Our approach wasn't just software focused, it was also about how the sessions were run. The librarians provided one-to-one support with images and descriptions of every event that was going to occur, so that they could be informed and they could be aware of what was happening, so there's no nasty surprises. It keeps everything calm and predictable, and we got really good feedback from that, didn't we? So, and then also location. So we had to design the experience to be completely offline because it was being taken to libraries which have got terrible Wi-Fi, and also outreach sessions from schools to family days at prisons where you're really not allowed any Wi-Fi or internet connection whatsoever. But the feedback from those sessions was also really good. And at St Barnabas, a local hospice, they had it, and they said it went down really well. And at Ford Open Prison, the feedback was that it helped break the ice. It's quite an awkward day when the families come to visit, and so this was a good conversation starter and helped there. So what did we learn? Just don't overcomplicate things. You can't assume anything with these people. If it's the first time they've used VR, they're never going to react how you think. So strip it back, test, fail, simplify again, and when in doubt, use bubbles. That's,
yeah. We've got the examples anyway, so you can come and have a go on the VR experience. As part of the VR experience, they wanted something. So the VR experience was exclusive. So you had 6 headsets traveling around 36 different library locations over the year. You have to book that in advance. So people go on to Eventbrite, book their experience. But that doesn't reach everyone. So all the way through in every single library, there are the posters, which we have here. So again, using our Promoter platform, this is a way to get web AR and collectibles in the library. So kids mainly, what we think with the posters, get to go around and find the basically go around on a treasure hunt, get digital collectibles. So the libraries themselves can print these out. So there's zero cost really for them, but they can really get this out there to have something more fun, get kids going around the library and collecting them. There's a 3D poster as well. So if you collect a 3D poster, like we've seen here, you then unlock this 3D globe. How we explain things, like we might talk about AR or VR or mixed reality. We might know that, but to a consumer, they don't really care what any things are called. So working with the library, what do we call them? So it ends up being 3D stickers as the explanation for the sort of treasure hunt, and 3D poster. So that's how we sort of explain them. So we've had some feedback so far. It's been really great. So we love making this project. Library, lovely people, fantastic to work for. It's the best project we've ever worked on. It was nice because they're nice people. They give us loads of free rein. We got to make them the virtual reality. We wrote the scripts. We created Marty for them. They didn't ask for an avatar. We made an avatar for them. And Marty ended up tying it all together. So yeah, so the feedback's coming through now. They've been filling in questionnaires after the VR experience. And for us, it's word of mouth is the top reason people have gone there. So it couldn't be better for us in as far as like people have had a nice experience at the library, and the repeat other people have come to turn up to look at it. And again, the actual VR experience, we love doing sorts of cool things, but sometimes the simplicity of it really sort of makes it accessible, and it's just, that's the thing that's won people over. So yeah, we'll leave these things running, but I think that's sort of the end of the talk. We do lots of different things. Again, with Promoter, you can have a collectible that turns into a game, so it could be that sort of experience. And we've done lots of other sort of things. So, but yeah, another sort of game. So some stuff Toby's been working on, so I thought I'd show it off while we're here. Yeah, I think that's basically does wrap up pretty much what we've done. Like I said, we're really super proud of the library project. We're trying to see how we can take that into other places like hospitals or other ways to sort of take what we've learnt and have an impact. I think it would be great for us to be able to do that. So that's what we're sort of trying to do now. So we've got the VR headsets if you want to have a go. We've got some demos of other things as well. And if you want to try out the posters, they're behind you. So All you need is a smartphone, and yeah, that's probably it.